Everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 140. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on the fun and the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. We'd love you for it. Today, flying solo. Surprise, surprise. But, surprising, 3 topics today. Holy shit, I could think of a lot to talk about this week. Let's kick it off with another wrestling pay-per-view. Woo! Topic number 1. As of recording, Money in the Bank was last night. So, for the 3rd week in a row, you're going to hear my thoughts on wrestling pay-per-view. Whoopee! Overall, how was the Money in the Bank pay-per-view? Surprisingly shocking. They didn't seem to follow the predictableness that WWE can have of like, yep, that person's going to win for sure. And it was nice. The pay-per-view seemed short, also nice, especially when most of these things go 3 to 4 hours. I think it was still 3 hours, but everything seemed very concise and nothing seemed to drag on, or there wasn't like 50 matches we needed to get through. So, pace was good. Results were good. I know some people are a little controversial on some of them, but I thought overall this was a really good pay-per-view. Good time, especially maybe from my perspective, low expectations going into this, so maybe that helped as well. So overall, match-wise, we had 6 matches. You could technically count a 7th, but we'll get into that later. We had the women's Money in the Bank match. We had Lashley and Theory going after the U.S. title match, or U.S. championship. We had Bianca Belair defending her title against Carmella for the women's championship. Usos going against the Street Profits for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Ronda Rousey defending against Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then we had the men's Royal Rumble. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So, let's get on into it. Opening up the pay-per-view was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You had Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, and Liv Morgan all going for the briefcase here. How was this match? I will say okay. Ladies definitely were given time to do their stuff, and I feel like most of the ladies were given opportunities to shine, which I appreciate. Especially Shotzi and especially Raquel Rodriguez being, I'd say out of this crew, definitely the more newer talent. Raquel just got called up from NXT maybe a month or 2 ago, and then Shotzi was called up but hasn't been doing much, to be honest. So, how was the match overall? It was fine. Like I said, happy they got their time, happy they got these spots. Why was it fine? Well, it wasn't the smoothest of things, if I'm being honest. Now, is that anything a non-professional wrestler should be saying at all? Probably not. I can criticize how it looks, but I can't say it's easy or anything like that. Duh. Not that I am. Some stuff didn't go as planned. Number 1, like I said, we tried to give Raquel some stuff to kind of highlight her. Very tall woman, very strong. Let's have her lift up multiple opponents. Great. So, the whole thing, the spot that they did, there was a ladder on the ground, and Liv got knocked out on one end and was draped over it, and then Becky got knocked out and was draped over the other side. So Raquel's moment was to take the ladder and seemingly like deadlift. I'm a weightlifter. I know that terminology. Deadlift the ladder up and like have both of them draped on each side like dumbbells. Would this help her win the match? No, but it would have looked cool. So, in execution, didn't go great. I don't know if it was just uneven, the way that Raquel had kind of positioned herself. It was off center. I think it was maybe one rung just favoring one of the sides. So she attempted to lift it, and I don't know if it was just a balance thing, but she struggled with it and didn't really get too high off the ground. So the moment in itself kind of didn't look great. So we had that. Okie dokie, no big deal. It's hard to be strong, in these weird situations that you don't do all the time. Makes sense. Fine, I'll let it go. Next thing that didn't go super great was a moment with Shotzi and a moment with Liv Morgan. So Raquel got a target on her back because she's tall, she's strong. Makes sense. Let's focus our energy on this person, chop them down, take out that threat. So Raquel is trapped in the corner via ladder. She's kind of pinned in there. So Raquel's in the corner. Ladder is against her chest, and the other side of the ladder kind of makes a ramp, seemingly going to her face. Shotzi decides to run up the ladder, drop kick, elbow, just decides to run up, hit her, and then go on her merry way. Well, there's these holes in the ladder, not the easiest to run up. So she attempts to run up by stepping on where the rungs would be. Unfortunately slips and doesn't get all of her elbow, axe handle, whatever strike she was trying to do. So that looked iffy. Okay, so Liv decides, hey, I'm going to do it. I don't recall off the top of my head if she hit Raquel or if she dove outside. She did it fine. However, very timidly she went here. I guess the best description I could say is how Bambi walks or a baby deer walks when they're first learning? Oh boy, that was that. Very step. I get it. It's a tough thing to do. Did not look great. So, either A, we should practice these spots beforehand so we're a little bit more confident in that. B, don't do them at all. All right? Now, I get it. Nerves are going. It's a big event. A lot of people watching. Things happen. Things happen regardless, whether you practice, not. Just didn't look swell. So, I would have suggested doing something different there. I will give props to one really cool moment that the ladies did. So Raquel's at the top of the ladder, and she's reaching for the briefcase. Duh, that's how you win. Lacey Evans comes up behind her and is essentially climbing over her back to reach the briefcase as well. Raquel kind of knocks her off. Liv comes up the other side of the ladder, punches them both. Lacey will fall down the back of Raquel just slightly, and now Liv and Raquel are kind of fighting it out. Raquel's going to get the upper hand, and she is going to propel Liv over her head and over her back, launching her, off the ladder. So what does Liv do? Liv recovers by going over Raquel's head, over Lacey's head, and grabbing Lacey on the way down, and giving her, the sunset flip powerbomb that we've seen 1-to-1, but she went over Raquel and grabbed the second person. Really cool. Went well. That could have went very poorly and been unsafe, but execution was good there. Looked really cool. We got a great moment out of it. As for the rest of the match, pretty basic stuff here. Everybody, like I said, did get their shots in. And then we get, I'd say, our first surprise of the evening, as Liv Morgan will take the win here and win the women's the contract for the championship match. So good for her. I know they've been trying to give her a push for a while, having her in storylines, having her against these higher ranking superstars in the women's roster. So good for her. She got this moment. Let's see what she can do with that. ... Second match is going to be Bobby Lashley against Theory for the United States Championship match. Guys did well here. This was another surprise to me. Theory's been the golden boy for Vince and WWE since he's been kind of called up to the main roster this second time. So I thought, okay, this is easy. They're setting up Theory and Cena apparently, so that will go to SummerSlam, and then we'll figure out if Theory's winning against Cena or Cena's winning there, whatever the case. However, in a twist of events, Lashley defeats Theory by submission. He beat him with the Master Lock, whatever the fuck that move is called, I don't remember. Beats him with that, taps out Theory, and he's going to win. The Hurt Lock, that's what they're calling it. My bad. So, wow, okay, Lashley won here. What's going on with Theory? Apparently there's rumors maybe Cena won't be at SummerSlam, and maybe this rivalry pushed to Mania. I don't know if that's because of this, or if because the Cena thing is happening at SummerSlam, and they're like, let's put the title on somebody else. We don't need the title on that match. Who knows? Who cares? Lashley wins here, taking the title away from Theory. Fine match. Nothing too fancy. Next one's going to be Bianca Belair against Carmella for the Raw Women's Championship. Shortest match of the night. Shortest planned match of the night at 7 minutes, 10 seconds. Didn't seem that short, but Carmella's good. Fills the role that is needed here as Rhea Ripley, RIP, could not compete. Not medically cleared. That would have been a great match. Fills the spot. Honestly, kind of boosted herself. I don't know. I felt like Carmella was more of a player with how she was set up for this program instead of just cannon fodder as she's been in the past year or two. Fine match. Bianca retains. Not so shocking or surprising here. Then we get the best match of the night. We get the Usos against the Street Profits. And boy, howdy, did these guys go at it. 23 minutes even, apparently. Just a solid performance by all four of these guys. Apparently, commentary was saying Street Profits are kind of at each other's heels a little bit, or whatever the terminology is. They're not happy with each other. I didn't see any of that at all in this match, so I'm not sure why we're trying to plant those seeds or why that was brought up. Guys did great. Went totally back and forth the entire time between Usos and Profits. And unfortunately, in a way, Usos are going to retain here for the Undisputed Tag titles, but they win it in shady fashion. So the way the initial count and camera angle was seen from an audience perspective, we did not see that Montez's Ford's shoulder was up. Through replays, they did show it that Montez was clearly had his shoulder up the entire count. So we're just setting up, obviously, for the next thing. Does this mean Profits will win it at SummerSlam? Maybe. I don't know if this is the time to start crumbling the bloodline. But honestly, like I said, all four of these guys did a fantastic job. The crowd was really into it the entire time with the near falls and the finishes and stuff like that. So this is a good program. I'm happy it's going longer. Just very odd that, if we're trying to think of this realistically, that the referee wouldn't pay attention to that kind of thing. He's focused on the one shoulder, but then the other one's just, you could slide a beach ball under that thing and he doesn't even care. Just odd. But we get the workaround that we can keep this story going. So we get that. Okay, now we got Ronda Rousey defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. Did I watch this one? No. Gonna be honest, I skipped this one. All 12 and a half minutes of it. Thank you, replay. So I don't know what happened in this match. I'm sure Natalya did great. I'm sure Ronda did something. Yeah, Ronda retains. Okay, whoopee-doo. She wins via submission. And then we get the second surprise of the evening as Liv's going to come out and cash in her SmackDown, cash in her Money in the Bank to get the opportunity at the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ooh, got scary there for a second as Ronda's going to put Liv in an armbar, almost tap out. Liv's going to kick her in the knee, which I guess was worked during her match, and get a roll-up, 1, 2, 3. Liv Morgan is the new SmackDown Women's champion. So yeah, surprise there, because earlier she gave a little promo saying that she was going to just take her time and think about it, and for right now she's just going to celebrate. So to see her out there, great. They did try and keep Ronda popular in the face as she shook her hand and then raised her hand after she won. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Liv wins. Good for her. Congrats. Thank God. And then we get the men's Money in the Bank match. So, Drew McIntyre, Madcap Moss, Omos, Riddle, Sami Zayn, Seth frickin' Rollins, and Sheamus, joined by a late 8th entry into the match, Theory. Hey! Alright. So Theory gets added to the match by Adam Pearce. Gentleman did fine. Gentleman did a good job here. Almost looked like a threat, as he is. Got taken out at one point by all participants through the announcer's table. And then I'd say the other only cool moment of this match was Riddle hitting like I think it's called the floating bro, but like a twist of fate, the twisting front flip off of the ladder onto the group down below. Cool moment for him. He also hit an RKO out of nowhere. I don't remember if that was off a ladder or not. But Riddle is going to climb the ladder, grab the briefcase. Theory's going to get in an altercation with him at the top, push him off, leaving Theory on his own on top of the ladder and grabbing the Money in the Bank briefcase. So this is where everybody starts to bitch and complain. Now, granted, I get it. Oh, he's a heel. Guess what? You're supposed to hate him. Good. Late entry. Didn't qualify like the rest of these guys. And people are like, oh, you're forcing him down our throats. Okay. One, I get it. I felt that way about Roman Reigns ages ago, right? Just Roman. Roman's come around, especially with the heel persona, the bloodline, all that shit. I like him now. I like what they're doing with him. Theory. I like Theory. I've seen a lot of his stuff on NXT. I didn't care for his first main roster attempt. Nothing really interesting there. But once he went back to NXT and was in the way with Gargano, LeRae, and Indy Hartwell, it was great. It's good stuff. Is this current iteration of Austin Theory the same as The Way's Austin Theory? No. However, I like it. He can wrestle. Hasn't really messed up at all, as far as I can tell. So, like, he's not nervous in the situation, which is good. So his performances have been solid. Also, once again, he's a heel. He's a bad guy. So, we are supposed to hate him. We are supposed to be annoyed by this situation. So all this is working as part of the story. Oh, that he's around and kind of in everything. Now, the question becomes this. What is he going to do with his briefcase? Is he going to take down Roman Reigns? I would say no. My thoughts and theories on Theory. Shut up, Peanut Gallery. What's going to go on with that? So, I don't think he's going to beat Roman. Do I want him to? Yes, but only because it takes a main title off of Roman and we can have a world title match at pay-per-views again, and it's not this weird awkwardness where they're not around. That's the only reason. That could be literally anybody taking it off of Roman, and through the Money in the Bank briefcase, I think it still kind of protects Roman in this God mode bloodline thing, because anybody could do it. It could be the cheap shot after, he just wrestled 30 minutes against Brock, whatever the fuck it is. It protects him. It's not like he lost legitimately in this super strong character that we've built for so long. So, I guess under those pretenses, I'm kind of talking myself out of the situation where I think Theory's going to win. But if that's what they wanted to do, I think it's a safe way to do it. Now, if Theory doesn't cash in against Roman, if I'm going back on my original train of thought, when does he cash in? Great question. He's got a full 365 with this thing, so it's flexible, Maybe he does wait until someone else takes down Roman. I don't think this year. Is this year Hollywood for WrestleMania? It might be. If it is, does Dwayne come back, as we've been rumored for ages, and then we get the Samoan family against the Samoan family, and then maybe The Rock, beats Roman, and then he has a title, and then maybe Theory capitalizes on him. Maybe that wouldn't be such a big deal because, well, Dwayne's a movie star. He's got to go work on his next movie. The world title kind of ties him down a little bit, so you could get the title off of Dwayne in that situation. That's an option. Second option, we already talked about Super Cena making his return and having a feud against Theory. Is this going to be a situation where the Money in the Bank gets put up on the line like we've seen in the past with Mr. Kennedy and I believe Edge? I don't know. Miz won it from somebody one year. Like, is this a situation like that where he loses it in a match to someone else and then they go on and they cash it in? Maybe? I thought that was always stupid that they put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line and defended that like a championship. But, they could do that. It's certainly an option. So I don't know. I think it's a good heel tactic move, like I said, to kind of keep Theory in there and not just have him fall to dust after losing this championship. And that's another thing too. I guess if we want to go the third route, maybe Theory fails at his cash in. Maybe he cashes in against. Well, I still don't think it would be Roman, unless, is this cheap way to keep Roman safe but get a title back in the picture. If it's a cash in and he fails, that's already happened in the men's division. The ladies, it has not. They're still 100% on their Money in the Bank briefcase, but you give him this obviously the opportunity of like main title picture, so it puts people in people's heads of like, yeah, he belongs there. But then it's also the satisfaction from fans that, oh, he failed kind of thing. Like, yeah, the bad guy got his comeuppance or whatever. So we'll have to see. It's hard to say, obviously. We're only one day out from the pay-per-view. Hard to say what will happen. Do I think Theory is world championship material? I don't know about right now, but I can see it down the road. And I think that's why I'm hesitant, is like, I don't know about right now. They are building his character and have certainly built it to be something that is on, obviously, the weekly programming and to make us kind of care or at least talk about him. But I don't know if he's at that point just yet. So, we'll see. Time will tell. I don't know if the whole Vince situation will kind of throw a little bit of a wrench into this. He's still technically in charge of creative, so that doesn't change too much. But maybe, who knows? Who knows? And this could also be an audible from, like, once again, the Cena situation. Maybe Cena isn't fighting him at SummerSlam. That's why he's like, oh, let's free up the U.S. title and put this on him so he's still relevant, but he's not. We could still do some other stuff with the U.S. title, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, time will tell. Time will tell what's going on with this thing. Other stuff that happened at Money in the Bank. I will say there was two other moments of this show. One, a negative. One, I'd say a positive. Okay, WWE, stop trying to sell your stupid credit card. People hate it. They had a stupid promo segment with Alexa Bliss in the back, and Lily bought us a bunch of stuff apparently with the WWE credit card and got Alexa Bliss these tiny little ass roller skates. Stupid. Crowd hated it. They were booing the shit out of it. So, that was dumb. Second, the good thing. We get a little bit of a promo, a little bit of a vignette, no details, no wording, anything like that. Some people thought it was The Fiend because of the creepy kind of imagery that was used. However, with people going back and kind of looking at it a little bit more, it seems like it is the Radar Superstar Edge. We saw glimpses of Jeff Hardy's armbands, Kurt Angle's Olympic medal, Eddie Guerrero's Latino Heat license plate, and then I think the Dudley's glasses were in there. So, obviously, I get the Dudley reference. Obviously, I get the Hardy reference. I guess I get the Angle reference because him and Kurt Angle kind of were in a thing. Maybe I'm missing something, part of my wrestling knowledge. I don't get the Eddie Guerrero toss in there, but whatever. So Edge already making his return after being thrown out by Judgment Day and Finn Balor taking over the group. What will be his character going forward after Judgment Day didn't work out for him? Hard to say. Another one of those things I guess we'll just have to wait and watch and see what happens. But those are the only two things other than the matches that really happened. I guess if you want to talk WWE news, I'm sure Peanut Gallery will love when I say this, but Logan Paul has signed with WWE. Yikes. Apparently him and Miz are going to fight each other at SummerSlam. Do I give a shit? No. Do I want him in this company? No. But whatever.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny. Yeah, bring him back. Yeah. I don't know. So there's Money in the Bank. There's my thoughts on that. Meh. Moving on to topic 2. Let's talk a little bit more wrestling, but we're going to talk about wrestling and video games. Let's talk about WWE 2K22's GM mode. And it's been, oh boy, this game released in March. So it's been almost 4 months this game's been out. We're almost got all of the DLC. I believe there's only one group left with like LA Knight and Xia Li, Commander Aziz, and some other people. Oh yeah, Logan Paul. And so the game's almost done, pretty much, with any post-launch plans. And I want to talk about GM mode. Probably the game I've played, or the mode I've played most in this game. And it's kind of surprising to me. Obviously, I was very excited for GM mode, as a lot of people were hoping for its return for years in these titles, and now we finally have gotten it. But yeah, I put a lot of time into this mode, whether it's playing it on stream, thanks for watching, or if it's been on my own. A lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of rosters made, a lot of saves corrupted, a lot of tears shed. It's been a fun mode to play and kind of fantasy book and have the challenge of whether it's a computer opponent or a real life opponent. It's been a fun time. So now that we've had, once again, these 4 months since launch of the game, and we're heading towards the end of the lifespan, at least for new content of this current title, I kind of wanted to talk about GM mode and what I think they did well and where I think they could improve in this game mode. Let's start with the positives. Let's start with the things they did really, really well with this game mode. Obviously, they brought it back. That's a win. I know it kind of started off a little bit shaky in its initial launch. It was only, was it the 3 matches? Potentially 4. Wow, I'm already forgetting because of the update. Well, it started off with limited matches and limited promos. Okay, that's fine. It also started where you could only do the World Championship and the Women's Championship. No Intercontinental Championship, no United States Championship, no tag titles. So, from a title perspective, very limited in what you could do. So, iffy off the bat with its initial launch. However, what 2K did is they heard, at least I think they heard, all of the feedback or criticisms online. And with that first initial update and DLC patch, they added to it. They added more matches week to week, along with the pay-per-views, and they also added the tag titles for both the women's division and the men's division available into the mode. And I think it was a great step. Obviously added upon the mode, and it seemed like 2K was taking a different step in this year's game. They were kind of putting that like TLC, not tables, ladders, and chairs. They were putting that tender love and care into the game and actually giving players some improvements for it. Along with it, during that patch of the GM mode getting an upgrade, they released the My Rise characters that were only used for that mode. So your Dominik Dijakovic, Alexa Bliss in her old character, Nikki Cross in her old character, King Booker, I believe, was in there. King Nakamura. Oh, sorry, regular Nakamura. So they gave... It was good. It felt really good that they were giving us stuff, and it felt like... they actually cared. Whereas previous years, it was just been like, it's been bug fixes. And it didn't seem like they were listening to the player base from time to time. Maybe they were. Maybe I'm being too judgmental. But from our perspective, it seemed like that. So with this first initial patch, where they added things or improved the situation for us, the players, including what they did in GM mode, it was great. It was like, oh, this is a lot more than we've seen in previous titles of theirs. It felt like a step in the right direction. So they added on to the mode, added different match, or not different matches, but more matches that you could create along with the tag title situation. Good stuff there. The challenge cards, or the power cards, or whatever they're called. Initially, I was kind of in the air about using these, or like why they were included. But since playing it, I think it's a great thing that they kind of like added their own spin into GM mode to make it a little bit different from obviously past games of the SmackDown versus Raw era. I think these cards are great, whether you're being aggressive or offensive against your CPU opponent or your human player opponent, whether it's double cost of specialty matches. They can't use their champion, they can't use a random superstar, their most popular superstar, whatever it is. Obviously, that's part of the strategy mechanic that they've added to it. So there's that. And then you also have the cards that can help you. Free arena, free advertising, Hell in a Cell rates better this match, title matches are better, morale gets boosted, injury cards, the spa cards, whatever it is. It just, once again, adds another element to this game mode that allows for the player to have to strategize a little bit more and kind of think about what their plan is. Good stuff. Good stuff. I enjoy it. There is one card that I think is not a deficit, but probably isn't the best card I feel included, and that's the Superstar Training card. So essentially the purpose of that card is to take the local talent, the jobbers, the enhancement talent, whatever you want to call them, and you invest in them to make them like a permanent spot on your roster. So while I understand the reasoning for that card, as a player, personally, I don't sign the local talent ever. And it's not because like they don't have a role to play. Obviously, yes, they do. You put them in against your talent. It could be an easy win, or you need to fill a roster spot, a promo spot, whatever. They have their role. To me personally, as the player, I don't want to see Chester, the mop man, in there. I don't want to see Lurch Evans in there, some guy with pigtails. I don't want to see Red Monsoon. I don't want to see these random creator wrestlers in here. It kind of takes me out of the mode, I guess. So, I would say that's the only card that, I'm iffy about. Now, I will bring up that card a little bit later. Well, no, I guess I'll bring it up kind of in this next segment. That's like what's good for GM mode, or what is really good. So, custom rosters is a really cool thing that they added this year with GM mode, and I think is a pro. So, you can alter your current roster and from your WWE, disc. Who's included in the draft, who's legends, who's local talent. You can adjust all of this, whether they're active, they're not active, whatever it is. This is a big pro because it allows you the option of customization. You're a WWE fan. Great. Some superstar did not get included in this title for whatever reason. Maybe they're released talent. Maybe they're newer talent that just didn't get scanned in. Maybe it's an older talent that is a legend that didn't make it to the cut. This custom roster allows you that freedom to create whatever roster you want. Old school WWE, you want to make that? Great. You want to make an ECW roster? Great. You want to kind of add to your NXT roster? Great. You want to make a fucking AEW roster? Yeah. I know it's a WWE game. Make whatever you want. The freedom here is excellent. And the thing that I think puts it over the top, and it's not a GM mode specific feature, it's just their creation suite, is the renders. Now, I know you're like, wait a minute, just a photo? Yes. For GM mode, that is all you fucking need to turn your brain off and kind of get into the game. Seeing an actual photo of whatever wrestler, superstar, knockout, diva, whatever you want to call them, legend, seeing their actual photo in the actual game makes it feel legit. And for some reason, like I said, it tricks your brain into being like, this is like, it's legit. So for me, it feels rewarding and doesn't feel like custom. I know that's weird to think about, but what I'm trying to say is let's say I'm adding NXT talent. So for example, Adam Cole, or former NXT talent, Adam Cole, Bronson Reed, Kyle O'Reilly, he's in the game, Bobby Fish, Blair Davenport from UK, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, she's in there, Caden Carter, anybody I'm adding to this roster. If I just do create a wrestler, whether it's my own creation or it's somebody very talented in the community creation who's made a great character model, if I just use them and I place them in here, they're going to use the video game graphics, the 3D model in whatever victory pose, menu pose that the people have decided to do that. And seeing that photo along with the produced photo and content just looks odd because it's a standout. It's a sore thumb. It's the same thing even in your exhibition matches. You cycle through the talent and then, there's a custom superstar. You don't belong here. It looks off. It looks off-putting. So what I appreciate is with the custom rosters that we can create in this mode, having the ability to add the renders. Once again, I know it's kind of a separate thing. It's community creations. But having that small detail of being able to make the custom rosters and have this included, I think for me, adds depth to this game mode. Once again, you can include people who were not included in the game or who would never be included in the game because they're part of a different company. It makes it a reason to go back to this title. It gives that replayability. And personally, I've done it, and I'm looking forward to adding more superstars. I mentioned a whole bunch right there that I have added. Adam Cole, Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Davenport, Maiko Sadamuro's in there, Dolan and JC Jane's in there, Carmelo Hayes is in there, a lot of people. And for me, if you get the renders right and stuff like that, it's great. Now, for the way I play, where I just simulate everything, you just need this image. So your created superstar, your wrestler, because you do need the actual wrestler there. If you want to create them to look like Adam Cole looks like Adam Cole, you can do that. Or you can literally go into create a superstar, just assign them a fighting title, their fighting style, give them their name, and you're good. If you're never going to watch or spectate or play the matches, who gives a shit what they look like? Their render is all you and the player interface needs. Other than that, it's just data. So, very simple to make on your own. Like I said, if you wanted to, there are many very talented and creative people on the creative community creations area. Search somebody. Look up the Grizzled Young Veterans. Has anybody created them? Oh, yeah. Go download them. Download a render. Bam. You got a new NXT tag team in there. Whoever it is. People are nuts. They'll make legit people. They'll make the weirdest people you've seen anywhere. Like I said, it just adds to the depth of the game, adds this replayability, and it's rewarding. It makes this game mode fun to keep doing over and over again and doesn't feel the same. So, going back to the Superstar Training Card, something I haven't personally done yet, but I think I might start doing to get more legit and like real talent into the roster pool, because obviously with the initial draft, you only get so many superstars. A lot of them are repeats. It's nice to kind of see new names in there. But then also, week to week, you manage your roster. You can get the free agents. There's only a finite amount of people into there, like 12 to 15 names. So for me, from my point of view, once again, I don't get the local talent. So I don't care for Chester, Lurch, etc. A thought that I had where I can make this superstar training card a little bit more enticing to me because they're legit talent, customize your roster, get rid of all of the local talent that's included there, and maybe make that your developmental roster or your NXT roster. So these younger talents that are in there, assign them to be local, and then you'll get more of a roster pool in your initial draft because you maybe have taken the NXT talent out of there, or maybe you've added to it. And obviously from week to week, all of those names are going to be legit, quote unquote, talents. Might add a little bit more spice and a little bit more variety to your show. And then the superstar training card becomes something more important. So let's say Carmelo Hayes. I drafted Carmelo Hayes. Obviously a great talent. NXT guy from my assigning of him. He's a local talent, but I know the equivalent is he's NXT. If I use the superstar training card, it's like bringing him up to the main roster. I'm elevating him and making him more legitimate. Just a thought, another way to kind of add some variety to your game mode or gameplay and make it a little bit more enticing. Because like I said, they're all legit talents. I'll have to do that. So, those are some pros. What else is a positive for this mode? I will say, I'm kind of like, this is a pro and a con. The mixture of length of stories or gameplay that you can do. If you want to do a shorter game run, 15 weeks. 25 weeks for a medium, 50 for a longer one. Pro, because you get the variety of maybe you don't want to stick with that roster for super long, and it's a shorter game mode, longer game mode, whatever. Negative or con, you can't go past the 50 week. I can't tell you how many times I've drafted a roster and I'm like, that was a lot of fun. Like I feel like I'm just getting into the swing of things once I hit that that WrestleMania season. And I was like, and it's done. All right, I got my win or I lost, and then there's no continuation after that. So I would say that's a con. You can't just, it's not endless like it was in years past with SmackDown versus Raw. Another pros. I like the challenge of like your GM or Triple H kind of talking to you and being like, hey, don't put so-and-so in a match. Try and do this match. It's nice to kind of have that reward system. If you do it, great. If you don't do it, no big deal. Not the end of the world. Fun little thing there. And then last thing for the pros, I guess I would say, is the styles. This was another one I was a kind of a mixed bag on initially, of like trying to understand how it would work. Fighters against bruisers, cruisers against giants. Specialties can work anybody. Over time, being a little bit more, once again, strategic with how your roster is built, kind of rewarding to have once you figure that all out. Can it be a bit frustrating at times? Absolutely. What do you mean I can't put this guy against this guy or else I'm going to get yelled at by Triple H? Shut up, Triple H. Let me book the show I want to book the show. I get that's a little bit frustrating. You could be a little bit more flexible where just anybody can fight anybody. But from a strategy point of view, it is kind of rewarding to kind of hit all the check marks of like, oh yeah, I hit that, I did that, I did that. I figured out the puzzle. Haha. So I like the typing. I know it's not for everybody, but it can be a rewarding piece of the puzzle for this game mode. So now the cons, or where the improvements can come in. Okay, so we kind of talked about the length of time. I would prefer if this game mode was, or at least had the option of an endless mode. Keep going with the roster you have. Usually by the end of the year, especially if you're doing a 50-weeker, your money is usually you have a shit ton. You either meet your 2 million that you started with, or you have way more than you need, and it's kind of, useless. So even if you had people that had a year contract and it wasn't the permanent roster, at that point you could rebuild your roster, whether you wanted to start fresh from scratch but keep the momentum you had, or okay, I'm going to re-sign half of you guys, but you know what, these people aren't doing that great, let's scrap them. So I think that would be nice. It would give a reason for really that money in the end, because other than that, it's just like, well, after a certain point, you spent all the money you can. Even if you're doing max arena, max graphics, max advertising, at some point, it's just check boxes, and it doesn't feel like anything's really happening, or there's no detriment, I guess, to spending. Like, that strategy's kind of gone out the door. It's just there. It's automatic. So if you had to think about, oh shit, at the end of the year, Bobby Lashley's contract is up. If I want to keep him, I got to make sure I have X amount of dollars. I think that would be another thing you need to think about as a player and kind of help add to the experience. So there's that. Kind of piggybacking off of that, though, this game mode is not stable. From a single player perspective, from a personal experience, I think it's been good. I don't think I've experienced many crashes, if any, under a single player experience, whether it's 15 weeks, 25 weeks, or 50 weeks. However, from the 2-player perspective, this game crashes all the fucking time. Don't know why, don't know what's going on. 15 weeks is most consistent. That one will run smoothly. 25 weeks will crash. 50 weeks will crash. And it is frustrating as shit. 50 weeks seems to crash the most consistently. I think we've tried it maybe 6 to 8 times where we'll do a full draft. We will book our shows up until the pay-per-view. And then either it will crash as we get to the pay-per-view, or we will book the show, try and simulate it, and it will crash there. Now, frustrating in general because it crashes. It wouldn't be that bad if the file didn't get fucking corrupted every time. So even if you try and reload it, it's like, nope, sorry, this file's messed up. You can't do this. You're screwed. Sucks. And they haven't worked on it. I mentioned at the very beginning of this topic, like that first patch felt so good as a player. Like, oh my God, they're going to put free things into these patches. It's going to be rewarding. It's not just like, oh, we tried fixing this bug. Like, they're going to add the GM mode stuff. They're going to add the My Rise Superstars. They're giving this additional free content and kind of rewarding their players, I guess, for hanging around after the shitstorm that was WWE 2K20, taking the time off and putting the love in here, and now they're going to give us more. But then after that, there was no additives, nothing added to the game other than obviously DLC, but you had to pay for that. Like, the love and care seemed to stop. Now, once again, this is just me from a fan perspective. Obviously, I'm not saying that the actual developers are just like, whatever, fuck you. No, I'm sure they're putting a lot of time and effort into this and have become invested in this project as well. But that is something that needs to be worked on. I know this is their first year tackling it under the 2K umbrella. I get that. So bugs are going to happen. Flaws are going to happen. They just need to learn from these things and make it better. I'm sure in 23, when this game mode comes back, it will be better. They can only go up from here. God, I hope so. Maybe they'll add the US and IC titles into the mix. Maybe they'll add the North American title. Maybe they'll add triple threat matches and fatal 4-way matches, or different ways to build your rivalries when you're in a tag team, because the only fucking way to build in a tag team is having the matches over and over. Maybe they'll add these things. However, from a stability and gameplay point of view, I really wish they would fix this, or at least try and fix these crashes now, because it's a little demoralizing, I guess, after a point. It's just like, I've tried this 3 times and it's not going. Whatever. So there's that. So what else is there? What else could they improve in their GM mode? There's what I just literally mentioned it. The additive stuff, like the mid card titles would be great. The different match types would be great. Adding some variety there, whether it's the triple threat, fatal 4-way, ladder matches, I don't fucking know, other steel cage, stuff like that. That would be great. It's not, I know everybody was kind of up in arms because we had the precedent from SmackDown versus Raw, last one in 2008, of like, this is what GM mode is. And I think everybody was expecting like a copy paste on 2K, just be like, here you go. But no, they wanted to do something different, so they kind of built this from the ground up. We got to be patient with that. They're going to try and add those things. So hopefully in 23, we'll see some progress in that facet. Yeah, I don't know what else really, I guess, to improve. I like the GMs that they had. I like the different kind of specialty cards they had. Maybe making it so those were reusable would be a little bit better, just from a player perspective, instead of just a one-time only thing. And also a little bit more, I would say, description of what certain things do. How does morale play into my matches? If they have a higher morale, does that add to my matches, or does it just prevent them from talking to the other brand and wanting to sign with them? The promo abilities, the 5-star ranking, I think is fine. It makes sense. Is there something that you could make a little bit more clear as to their performance? It took me a little bit of time to discover that if you simulate everything individually, it will tell you, oh, they raised 6 popularity here. Oh, they got you $8,000, whatever it is. I think if you kind of took those individual stats and kind of presented them in a different way, if I simulate the entire show, that would be better. So, like, for example, if I simulate the entire show, I can look in depth in matches and see the star rankings, and then I can get the full description of how the match played out. But you can't do that for promos. You can't go into the promos after you simulate everything and see how they performed. You just know, did the rivalry increase if it was a call out? I don't know how the charity event went. I don't know how the advertising went. I don't know how the just self promo went. Did it go good? Did it go bad? Whatever it was. So I would say taking the things that you learn from simulating everything individually and making that available for someone who just simulates the entire show, I think that would be helpful. The Twitter feed. I know it was a fun idea to do this kind of social media stuff. If there's crucial information in there, make that a little bit more apparent, or don't even have it at all. I know they put like the little marker, the little highlight, if it's like so-and-so is a good tag team, this is their specialty match, whatever it is. I feel like that only happens once in a while. It doesn't feel like a necessary feature if new things aren't going to kind of constantly pop up, if that makes sense. So, iffy on that. And then that same screen with your match quality, things of that nature, make that a little bit more clear of how like that affects your ratings, how many fans you get, stuff like that. I shouldn't have to look at this thing and formulate a mathematical equation to know why the result is the way it is and why one show did better than the other. Shouldn't be that way. Maybe make that a little bit more clear, but maybe I'm grasping at straws now. Overall, I love GM mode. I think it's a great mode. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, especially with the customization aspect of your rosters, it adds so much depth and replayability to it. And it's chill. Very chill, especially when you're on your own, whether you want to write it down like me, who you drafted, what your rivalries are, all this fun stuff, or you just want to kind of zone out with it. It's a good time. I'm glad they reintroduced it in this year's game of 22. Whether they make a 23 or if they wisely kind of stagger the releases to give themselves a little bit more time to put the love and care into their titles. If this game mode returns, hopefully it just gets better and better. Like I said, this is 2K's first attempt to add it. So, not bad for the first try, but it can only go up from here. That's the hope. That's the wish. Hope you guys enjoy playing to GM mode as well. And, we'll have to see where it goes in the future from here. Moving on to topic 3. Let's deep dive, everybody. We're talking Stranger Things now. As of recording, Stranger Things Season 4 Part 2. That's a mouthful. Dropped on Friday. 2 episodes worth. Like a 4-hour experience. Lady and I had heard that Season 4 Part 1 had dropped a few weeks ago. And we're like, oh shit, we want to watch that. Do we remember anything that happens? Kinda. I didn't remember anything about Season 2. She didn't remember anything about Season 3. So we decided to rewatch this whole sumbitch in like 2 weeks. And then we watched Season 4. So right now, what am I going to do? Well, first off, I'm going to talk Stranger Things, because I don't think we've talked about it on this podcast. Surprise, surprise. I'm just going to give you kind of like my thoughts on the series overall. Am I going to talk about Season 4? Yes. Am I going to go into spoilers of Season 4? Also yes. However, I'm going to give everyone a clear escape window and moment of when you need to do that. So you don't get spoiled if you haven't watched the show. If you have watched the show, cool. Hear my thoughts on what happens. But be wary. I got you. I'm not going to drop any spoilers on you just out of thin air. So let's talk about Stranger Things. How is this as a series? Good time. It's a great time. Originally when it launched, I was not super stoked to watch this show because I thought it was more horror themed, scary, and that's not my jelly nor my jam. Okay, peanut gallery over there. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted, I decided to give it a try. Lady recommended it to me, said, yeah, it has these elements of obviously tense situations, the horror elements, but it's not that bad. And I'm really glad that she gave me this advice and, encouraged me to watch it, give it a chance. Because it was a blast. And this was one of the first series that we shared together, watching together, and it was a fun time. So, Stranger Things, a lot of fun. A lot of interesting characters in this show, from Elle to the boys' D&D crew to eventually Steve and John and, blanking on her, Nancy and Max and Billy and Hopper and Will's mom, whose name I always forget, Joyce, thank you, to Murray. A lot of interesting characters here, a lot of different dynamics that they play with, and the journeys that each of these characters take is fun and rewarding. For seasons 1, 2, 3, I think they did a good job of defining their threat or their problem and explored it really, really well. But also, it didn't feel like it was forced, if that makes sense. So season 1, Elle escapes. She makes this tunnel to the Upside Down. We are now dealing with Will being lost in the Upside Down and recovering him. Essentially, that's it. Let's save our friend Will. Oh shit, we got Elle here. Let's try and keep her safe. Great. Season 2. Will's is affected by the Upside Down. And now he's connected forever by this being inside the Upside Down. Uh-oh, let's save our friend here. Elle's missing. Uh-oh, we don't have superpowers. Season 3. Everybody's happy. Uh-oh, the thing that was in Will is not dead and is now going to possess someone else, Billy, and we're going to have to deal with that shit. Uh-oh. It was a nice kind of flow of the story. We get introduced to our problem, we solve it, but it's still present. We solve it, but it's still present. It didn't feel like we had to kind of make up a new threat or make this whole new big thing. It was this growing story through those first 3 seasons where, as they built on top of it, it made sense and was fun to see the growth of these characters. From Elle starting off as, this girl that was experimented on and knows nothing of the outside world or very little of the outside world, to becoming friends with Mike and his crew and like understanding herself more, and then growing up and becoming friends with Max and her discovering her own interests and things she wants to chase after with that, to the D&D squad, seeing their relationship as like younger kids and then going trick-or-treating, and then they're getting older, so the group's a little bit falling apart and tense, but they're always there to help each other when shit really hits the fan. And then you get like the older crowd, so you get the tension between like, oh, Steve and Nancy are a thing, but John really crushes on Nancy, and then Steve's a dickhole and you hate the shit out of Steve, and then Steve gets dumped, and then he learns he's kind of an asshole and kind of turns that around, and then Robin gets introduced, and then you're rooting for Steve the whole time, and Robin's hilarious, and then there's the whole thing there where Robin's actually gay, and then you're like, oh, I mean, that's cool, but oh, poor Steve, we thought this was a good match. There's a lot of growth with these characters too, and with those first 3 seasons, it's so fun. It's really, really fun what they do, and it's a fun journey to go on. And season 4, this is general thoughts still, don't worry. Season 4 continues this, even with their new characters. This is not spoilers. Oh, don't worry. Their new characters that they do introduce, whether it's Eddie or Argyle. Something that I'm always worried about when they introduce new characters is it's not going to feel natural, or it's going to feel like they're shoehorned in. These 2 characters are great. And I think with the limited amount of time that like they kind of need to get the ball rolling on these characters to have you connect as an audience, they do a really good job of making that connection, making you care, and making you root for these characters throughout the rest of the season. And they did that with the past seasons too. Max/Maxine, obviously adding her to the group dynamic. Billy as an antagonist, like you kind of get that animosity with him, but then eventually learn why he is this way. Murray being added in as like originally this kind of not a full antagonist, but kind of like this troubling source for Barbara and her family, of like taking advantage of them, but then you learn he's a really good ally and like he has a lot to add and help the team. Good stuff. And then you also get, other characters like Bob, who's great, who they introduce, R.I.P. And you get attached to him. But then, the different dynamics between different characters and their relationships. It's all really good show. Really good show. This food is good. This food is bad. This show's great. So now season 4. Once again, this is still general, but we're almost to the spoiler point.
It's so good.
Season 4 is really good. Were there moments of doubt in this season? Yes. However, once it gets to the end, the payoff, and the conclusion of this season's arc, it blows it out of the water. And I think something that helps with this is our kind of relationship that is built with these characters. we've had 3 seasons to do this. We've had, once again, the relationships build with these characters from 1, 2, 3 because of like their age. You see the kids are growing up, and you see the difficulties that they've gone through in these first 3 seasons. And when we get to season 4, you're fully invested. You want them to succeed, to do well, to be there for each other. And how they build the narrative for the respective groups of season 4, I think is really great, because you're cheering them on. You want them to do well. You feel bad when they fail or things go wrong. And I think that just adds to it immensely, is that history that we have with those characters. Speaking of the new characters, or as I said with the new characters, that's another thing too. They do such a great job of making you care in a short period of time that it doesn't feel out of place that they're here, if that makes sense. It's the same thing. You want them to do well. You're sad when they don't do well. So, now we are going full spoilers into season 4. If you have not watched Stranger Things season 4, part 1 or part 2, now is your time to leave. Okay, spoilers. Gave you your warning. Season is great. Holy shit, does it fucking suck and tear at your heartstrings. So we introduced Eddie in this season, and we kind of follow Eddie's journey in this season. Eddie's an outcast. He hangs out with the kids, with their D&D group. He's a little bit of like a weirdo comparatively to normal society. And unfortunately, Eddie is going to get blamed for things that go around town. People think he's a murderer. And we're joining Eddie in his journey of like his escape, the group helping him out, and his eventual character arc into being a hero. And the character's so great. You get the introduction of his personality in episode 1. Originally, it's like, oof, this is a lot of energy, but like it wins you over. And then just, you feel bad for the character the entire time because he's getting blamed for something he didn't even fucking do. And you can't just explain that to people because it's this weird hocus pocus bullshit that's going on. And he is supportive of the people that are around him, obviously the allies that help him with Steve and Nancy and Robin and I can picture him. Who's the toothless kid? Starts with a D, right?
My brother.
Crap.
You're going to have to cut this part out.
Yep. No. With the squad there. They're all very supportive. Dustin. Jesus Christ.
Oh
Dustin. He's supportive of them, and they are behind him 100% of like, we know you didn't do this. We're your rock. We're going to get you out of this. And seeing the relationship build between obviously him and Dustin, who have this relationship already with the Hellfire Club and the D&D group, but then also him expanding this relationship and like healing a little bit with like a Steve. Steve was the jock. Steve was the most popular during his time in school. He never thought he would bond with Steve, but seeing the relationship build between Steve and Eddie of like this mutual respect and them helping each other is great. And it's similar with like, Nancy. Nancy's, as far as I can tell, always been this more, as they put it, like people in the universe, the world, stuck up and, on this more popular side, having them all see each other in this different light of like, no, shit's really hitting the fan. And when it comes time to be serious or act in like looking out for your fellow man kind of way, like they all kind of reach this common ground, and it's nice. And Eddie is going to grow as a character because he mentions like we know he's on the run this entire season, obviously, for what he hasn't done. But he mentions how his family just does that. They run. When the situation isn't in their favor, they back away, they run away, and kind of slither off. And to give him his hero moment, essentially, at the end of this series, or this season, rather. Oof, it hits hard. Does he look like a badass doing it? Yeah, he does. We give him 2 moments. We get him a moment with Dustin where he's jamming out, rocking to some Master of Puppets by Metallica to kind of create a distraction for the group as they go after the big bad. And then he's going to sacrifice himself for Dustin and let him escape as he takes on the whole Bat mob by himself in the Upside Down. And
then we will both cry.
We'll both cry for Eddie as he unfortunately dies and, gives his final remarks to Dustin. Man, that fucking sucks. I just wanted to see Eddie be more Eddie. It's a shame that we only got 1 episode to see him fully be his confident, his weird, his natural self. And then the rest of it, he was on the run. It felt very similar to season 1 with Will, where Will was kind of just there as a plot point. I feel they did a little bit better with Eddie of giving him a character. But Will season 1 is just he's the pawn. You don't really build, at least from my point of view, you didn't really build on him at all. It was just yeah, you're there as the cannon fodder, I guess you could say. And it wasn't until 2 and 3 where we start giving him a little bit more time. But Eddie was essentially that this season. He was the pawn to the plan originally of the big bad and was just this thing we needed to save. And I'm glad later on he got these moments for himself, but I just wanted to see him. I wanted to see Eddie be Eddie and just love that character in this universe that was being added. So there was that. On the other side of the coin, Argyle.
Brother.
What a character that I didn't know that we needed in this show. So Argyle's a good friend of John's out in California, and he is essentially just this carefree hippie dude delivering pizzas. But he's the biggest homie that you could ever ask for. He will do anything for, John and Will and this group. Whether it's driving out to the middle of nowhere to save them, saving them from their house getting attacked by the fucking military without him knowing, but just understanding and go into action.
This man doesn't ask questions.
He doesn't ask questions. He goes, he does what he needs to do, and he's helpful along the way. He's not just the dumb oaf that's around. He has obviously his comedic moments where it's just stupidity, but in the best way. But he will also add to the team. He does help figuring out things out, whether it's locating Elle and where she's been taken or is prisoner, or helping with her and her sensory, is it just a bath, a sensory bath, or whatever the fuck
Deprivation.
Thank you, the deprivation, so she can help Max out and her friends, being reliable there. So Argyle was great. I don't know what his, because you don't see him in the very, very end. I don't know if he'll be around for the last season or if he'll just would have been this catalyst for now between the California crew and then the Indiana crew. I don't know. But if this was his only season, it was great. He was a very welcome addition to the team. So, okay, let's talk about the lower points, I guess you could say, after these 2 amazing characters. So I had mentioned we hit a kind of a weird point mid-season with this, with this season, we hit a rough spat. And it felt like at points they were rehashing elements of older seasons. We had the discovery of, what's the stupid bad guy's name? Vecna, thank you. We had the discovery of Vecna's house base of operations with a drawing. And then we also had, I think it was a rehash of the love interest, which I'll talk to you about a little bit more. Was there anything else that seemed like it was repeating? There might have been one thing, but I can't remember. So, at certain points or certain times, it felt like a rehash. Especially with also Elle's journey and the fucking doctor seemingly coming back. So now the love interest shit. So, I talked about season 1. Obviously, Steve and Nancy date. Then, John's kind of on the side. He's a loner. And then Nancy and Steve have their drama with Steve's friends. They separate. Nancy and John get together, which personally I was like, hey, that's good, especially as it continues in later seasons. But now we get this weird thing in season 4 where Steve's never stopped caring for Nancy, which I'm not against Steve for having these feelings. I get it. He sees that Nancy, as he mentions in this season, kind of turned him around, gave him the bump on the head or whatever the direct dialogue was. And he's better for it. But I want Steve to find his person. And I think season 3 is where we really build on that, with him and Robin, their relationship. Obviously, season 3, at least on my viewing, I thought Robin was his person. The two, obviously, at the very beginning, kind of butt heads and kind of tease each other and like, oh, you're stupid, you're striking out with all these girls you're hitting on. And she kind of put him into his place of like not dealing with his bullshit. And it seemed like a good matchup. Obviously, we'll learn later on Robin's character and her, I guess, characteristics is the way you could put it. But we learn, obviously, she's gay. That's good for her. Great. We learn that matchup isn't going to happen. And they're just going to be best friends, which is great too. That's a healthy relationship that the two of them have. And they both need, to be honest. So with Steve going back to Nancy, or at least these feelings, I get it, but I don't like Nancy's wishy-washiness. I like Nancy and John together because to me, it's that weird like opposites attract thing, and it makes sense. Like they're both driven, they support each other a lot. This season kind of throws the wrench into it because obviously now John is living in California, Nancy's still in Indiana. Apparently their college plans are changing with John's feelings. So I don't know if they fully have grown apart, and maybe it's the distance, 8 months distance. I know it can be hard. I don't know. I didn't care for it. That whole like, ooh, Nancy's kind of like, oh, back on to Steve now, and that kind of thing. But then John comes back in the end. She's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. I'm going back here. It's this weird non-committal thing. And I'm not trying to blame this all on Nancy, because like I said, I understand where Steve's coming from, but I want Steve to move on. I want him to find his somebody. I thought there was almost going to be a moment at the very, very end of this season with Marissa at the volunteer place, but that didn't turn out to be anything. But yeah, we'll have to see how that works out, because apparently Nancy and John are good now. We'll see if they really are good. So, yeah, on that.
We want Robin to find her somebody.
Oh, yeah, Robin and Vicky. Yeah, we want them to...
Vicky needs to be gay.
Yeah, which... potential.
Seems like...
Well, maybe. We'll have to see. Murray in this season. Fantastic. I didn't think I was going to like Murray, to be honest, but he's slowly won me over as this show has continued. So, good on you there, Murray. Kicking ass in this season with his black belt in karate. And, yeah, really being like a driving force to helping Hopper escape jail.
Russian jail.
Soviet jail. And I will say that too. I really like this season, and they've done it in every other season. But I like how they do, these pairings of characters. This group's doing this for tackling the problem. This group is doing this for tackling the problem. I felt like this season felt the most disjointed in what the group's task actually was. You had Dustin, Steve, Nancy, Robin, Lucas, Erica, Max. They're working on the Vecna problem. Oh shit, we have these murders that are happening in Indiana. Everybody's getting their bones fucking contorted and eyes blown out. They're working on this problem. And they're not shying away from it too. Love that. So they're doing this. Then you get the Elle, Will, John, Argyle, and Mike thing, where we're just focusing on Elle's journey. Her journey with her bullies and smashing that bitch's nose in with the roller skate to eventually, obviously, her capture. And then we get the Russian inside job of Joyce, Hopper, Murray, fucking Enzo, and Yuri. Thank you very much. And that's just, we're only focused on getting Hopper out of jail. That's it. And that story.
Know the other shit.
Yeah, nobody knows the other stuff until obviously a little later on. But it felt different from other seasons where, for example, let's go with season 3. It's Steve, Robin, and Dustin, eventually Erica. Oh my God, there's these tunnels under the fucking mall. Like, it was that. And then, what was Mike doing and his crew? Oh, it was just relationship drama, I believe, in between them. And then, they were figuring out what was going on with Billy. But then eventually they're like, they all merged into the same thing. We kind of had that in this season, but only from Elle really was the crossover. Joyce makes a mention that the kids are in danger, but they have literally no idea what is going on and the scale of what is going on back home in the States. Elle only knows about one or Vecna or Henry because of this training she's had to do, and then the communication that her friends are in danger. It's like, just happens that the points meet, and she's the only one that kind of does this connective tissue. I kind of appreciate that. It's not just, we're all here together. So I like that. They all had their own stories. They all had their own agendas. And it was, everything flowed pretty nice and made sense, even with jumping from story to story throughout the episodes. Maybe it was because of the longer format of these episodes. It made more sense and was given more time, so everything was fleshed out nicely. Who knows? Let's see. What else? What else?
I have something I want to talk about.
Go ahead, Peanut Gallery.
The visuals
Mm.
and the effects.
Mm-hmm.
They had that money.
They did.
And it looked very good.
Yes. Yeah, that's something visually, like she said, very great this season, where they've obviously had good CGI throughout their run of the show. But in rewatching the series, season 1, they really rely on strobe lights to kind of cover their flaws with the Demogorgon and when those things show up. And it's just really apparent. Maybe it's just me from a limited background of 3D modeling and stuff like that. It's like, wow, I get why this is a thing. The model still looks great and it fits, but they were relying on that strobe effect to, like I said, hide it or kind of make it seem a little bit more like it fit into the world. And as the show's progressed, they've kind of relied on that a little bit less. But this season, for sure, it looks fantastic. Whether it is Vecna, I'm sure that's a mixture of practical effects and visual effects. That he looked great. The whole Upside Down, obviously we're spending a lot of time in the Upside Down in this season. That looks great. the Demodogs and the Demogorgon over in Russia, I thought fit very well. Yeah, for sure. For sure, those visual effects look fantastic.
And when people are getting their homes broken.
Oh my god. Horrific.
A lot more intense.
Yes. The intensity in this season from 1, 2, 3 like went from 60 to 100 right in that first episode. Like I was like, whoa! Like, oh my god. Good thing I'm not like crying right now because it's so scary. Like, woof. Yeah, that, and then obviously the effects they had with the visions, whether it was Chrissy or Fred, like some spooky stuff in there. Be careful if you don't like spiders. Let's see. The football team, I get they had to be an antagonist. A little bit heavy on the religious connotations. I guess I get it. Maybe that's part of the time. Like, oh, D&D's a cult. Like, worshiping the devil.
It was a thing in the 80s. People were really scared about satanic cults, like sacrificing kids. That was actually a thing in America.
Okay, so
playing on that.
I get that. That's fine. They did seem like weird antagonists to just kind of be fillers. I was wondering if the football head was going to be a setup like Billy for season 5. Obviously, he's not, as he's cut in half through fucking the earthquake. So some other characters that kind of showed up here briefly or not really briefly that like we don't know their fates of or just thoughts on them. So we kind of briefly talked about Papa, that doctor. Fuck him, first off. I thought he was dead. Apparently not. He just got munched on a little bit, and he's A-okay. He's dead now after taking 3 bullets, I hope. I'm glad Elle, realized through, obviously, Henry 1, Vecna's journey, that Dad was an asshole. I was really hoping during that desert scene where Papa was asking, like, oh, say that you heard me. I was hoping that she was just going to say no and then walk away like she did. She didn't get the verbal thing of that. So I guess the message still came across as that. It just wasn't as satisfying for me. But he's dead, I think. So hopefully. So that was good. Dr. Owens, proven to be the homie. Season 2, he came in being the scientist that took over Hawkins' lab. We were unsure if he was still like just another layer to this level of like experimentation on the kids or taking advantage of the Upside Down and the portals, but he proves here to be the homie, helping out Elle, helping out Hopper. What is his fate? Last we saw him, he was locked in the Nevada labs, handcuffed, and I think that's it. So potential for him to come back. Hopefully he's A-okay. Speaking of his situation, we had the military involved in this. We didn't really get any finish with him except for them going to the Nevada base, trying to get Elle after torturing that poor man. The guys had made their escape in the pizza van, blowing up the helicopter and shit like that. We saw them exit the facility, and that was it. They gotta come back, right? This couldn't have just been a season 4 foil and thing just to kind of let go. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for going into season 5 and the end of the series. Yuri, or Dimitri as they're putting it on this cast list. Or sorry, Enzo. Well, Yuri as well. Enzo and Yuri, Dimitri and Yuri, whatever the fuck their names are. The Russians? Or are they just going back to Russia being like, deuces, okay, bye?
Yeah, we didn't see them at the end.
We did not see them at the end when Hopper and Joyce make their return with the kids, the reunion. So I would say it's safe to say they are going back to Russia. Maybe we won't see these characters again, unless it's going to be some kind of big superhero moment where they just randomly show up. But I think that will probably be the end of their characters. I did like Dimitri / Enzo a lot, being that kind of helpful role for Hopper, and the plan they kind of made. I'm wondering why he was so open to this? Was it just to make the $40,000 initially? Or does he have something against the Soviet Union? I know he was trying to get out of there at the end because of his son, but he was working at the jail, so question mark on his backstory, I guess. Yuri has finally has the redeeming moment of obviously helping them after his double cross. So there's that. Susie. Do we see Susie after this season? Maybe. She got her moment here where we saw her in person. We get the Eden moment with Argyle. She obviously hacked and found the location of the Nevada base for our crew. I don't know if she comes back. Maybe just quick, and that will be it. Speaking of Argyle, does Argyle come back? I think I might have talked about it already. I'd say no, depending on the timeline. So we saw, obviously, the whole situation with Vecna, taking care of him, everybody succeeding, mostly. And then we get the 2 days after thing. We see Max is still in the hospital, and we see them rebuilding the old Hopper house. In that 2 days, he is not at the... No, that's a lie. Argyle's picking mushrooms.
Yeah,
he's there. So he'll be back. Okay, never mind. Sorry, scratch that thought. I was like, he wasn't there. Maybe he went back to California. All right, Argyle's still around. He just seemingly left his life behind him dealing with this situation. Will Eden be back? Probably not. Unless, like, that's a finale thing where we see everybody going on their merry ways and he goes back for her. I don't know. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bitch-ass Vecna.
Can we talk about the ultimate betrayal of my trust of Black Man?
The ultimate betrayal.
I'm not happy.
However, what good fucking storytelling. You're always nervous about shows that keep going on season after season. Oh, you're going to have to shoehorn a big bad into this situation to keep the thing going because we made $8 million. Game of Thrones. What? They did a great job of tying this all together and making it make sense. Yes, it was ultimate betrayal. As we were watching, Lady and I sometimes will talk out the show like, oh, I think it's this. Oh, I think it's this. We both picked up on Henry, this assistant, being one. We heard the little note of like, oh, one was here, but I don't know what happened to him. He kind of fucked off. Made sense that he would be this character. Why is he talking to Elle? Why is he trying to help her? Blah, 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 blah. You had the moment where I thought, oh, this is starting where season 1 started, where she's going to climb through the pipe, her gown's going to get ripped off, but then, or the piece of it, but then also I was dumb because I didn't think of the first episode where Dad finds her. Whatever. So anyways, ultimate betrayal. She pulls the thing out of his neck that dampens his powers. And then he decides, you know what? I'm just going to say, fuck y'all. And I'm going to kill everybody in this fucking place. Doctor, kid, scientist, whoever gets his revenge. Obviously, he's gone through a lot of shit. All right, pent up anxiety and anger. Fine. He double crosses big villain turnaround. Ha ha! You freed me. Suck it. And then Elle's going to get her revenge and obviously evaporate him out of here. So this was a cool moment of like, wait a minute. Because in seeing the opening, you think Elle does it. I picked up on later that obviously, duh, because he was there killing the kids. But the mirror, the window wasn't broken. Like, obviously she won that fight. How was one not discovered? And then we kind of wrap it in that she hocus pocused him out of there like Demogorgon in season 1 by disintegrating him or whatever the fuck. Into the upside down. And then seeing how he got transformed into Vecna, getting zippity-zappitied, why the lightning, burning all of his skin off, his motivation for doing this, because people have done wrong in their past, and, like, they should be punished for that. Just was like that big brain, like, oh my God, it all makes sense now moment that is so good because the things are there. The trail of breadcrumbs is there of like, you could pick this up or seeing later on when they do the big reveal, like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. Because then retroactively you're like, oh fuck, it was right there. The son of, what's the guy's name? Victor Creel. He's unconscious and then he got taken away. Duh! They took him away. He's
I
getting.
didn't figure it out. I totally trusted Blonde Man.
Yeah, we did.
And I love a good blind side. When it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
Yeah, good double cross. Very rewarding. But yes, we see our heroes. Yippee! Eddie sacrificed himself. We all cry.
And then we cry.
Literally. We see Mike professes love for Elle. She breaks free. She force powers Vecna off of Max after Max fucking gets brutalized. Jesus. See her do that. We see Steve, Robin, and Nancy light up shit and then shotgun blast Vecna. Why did we not shoot him in the head? I don't know. He gets blasted out of the house. He's outside. We go back outside and he's not there. Son of a bitch. So, we don't have to set up a new big bad for season 5. We know that Vecna is still around. He succeeded in his mission of killing the 4, which also was a nice little kind of wrap into this story. Succeeds in his mission. Max is then revived by Elle. Good for her. But yikes, she had 3 bones broken, or 3 limbs broken, and is now blind. Yee. He succeeded in the plan. We got this big-ass cross crater in Hawkins, and now he's going to seemingly punch a hole through Demon Portal and take over the world. Yikes. Okay, so we got a lot to deal with next season of how do we solve this. Especially because in past seasons, it seemed like with the division of the Upside Down and our world, there was always time to kind of figure our shit out and like be secretive, I guess. I don't think that's going to be an option in this upcoming season. But what do I know? I don't know their entrance rate from the tunnel.
I don't think they have time because at the very last shot we see the Upside Down.
That is true.
Creeping into the real world.
That is true. Yeah, we don't have that time with the Upside Down creeping in with the ashes and the flowers wilting away and stuff like that. That is true. So it's going to be a little weird with the time jump, saying they haven't filmed anything. These kids are going to age magically. Which I think they kind of made a joke in this season too. Like, oh my God, it's been forever. It feels like years. You're like, well, it kind of has. So yeah, that will be interesting. And we're going to go right into pretty much the next iteration of this story and problem. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for more. I'm sure I'll have a nice, neat bow wrapped around it. Duffer Bros have been doing really, really well. I feel like there was something else that I had that I'm not remembering. Maybe it was nothing. It was probably nothing. Oh, does Hopper just go back to being a cop? Probably not, because we have no time. After his,
yeah, he just shows up.
He just shows back up in town.
After they have the funeral.
After the funeral and everything, yeah.
Police chief again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We feel sad for Will.
Yes, we do. Yes, Will, for sure.
Is in love with Mike.
Is in love with Mike, but unfortunately, obviously, Mike is not reciprocating. Yeah, Will. Yeah, just like a Steve situation, we want Will to find his person. And yeah, he's going through a lot right now, and it sucks. 'Cause yeah, he's pretty open without just flat out saying it. Like he's fueling Mike's feelings through his, if that makes sense, or helping Mike discover what he needs to say to Elle, or how he's truly feeling for Elle through what he feels for him. Yeah, it just sucks. And I'm glad that him and John have that moment in that last episode. Because obviously their dad is a piece of shit. We haven't seen him since season 1. And hasn't been involved in their life. So it's nice to see this healthy brother relationship between the two. So hopes for season 5. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the story's going to be great. I want Eddie to be back, but I know it's not going to happen. I want him just riding in on a chariot at some point. Just
it's like that tweet said, I'm ready for
retcon, yeah, ghostlight or ghost,
yes.
whatever
it
is.
Just show up again, and there can be no explanation, and it's a huge plot hole.
Yep.
And we just all pretend like he never died.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know how Vecna is going to fight back. We saw the Mind Flayer, how he kind of took it over through his fascination of spiders, ? Took that over, uses the hive mind to his advantage, I guess, as his army. Like, what happens after that? Is the Upside Down just like the Wild, where like the Demogorgons and shit just live their life in this tundra of hell? I guess so. Did we see what happened to the smoke? Like, it possessed the dogs and stuff and gave them life. We didn't see it.
The stuff that was in Russia?
Yes. We didn't see it zip off anywhere, right?
No, we did not.
Okay, after Murray burned them all to hell.
Yeah, no, we did not.
Okay, so maybe that's done finally, but...
Or maybe that was only part of it?
Yeah, it keeps showing up, so who knows?
I think we for sure know.
Yeah. I guess the only thing for season 5 that probably will happen, we've seen the parents, especially in this season, kind of come to the aid of their kids in defense. Not obviously the full situation of the Upside Down, but with the whole Eddie situation. I assume they're going to have to be more fully involved when the world is falling apart. Like, you can't keep this a secret now. Like, with it literally just there. So maybe they'll get more involved. Maybe that means more death potential. Big yikes. Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna suck that we gotta wait a year or two for this.
Yep.
I'll say that much. But yeah, Stranger Things Season 4 was phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who'd you like? Who you didn't like? What are your hopes for Season 5? If you watched this and didn't watch the season, will you give the show a chance now?
Oh, can I say one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got some phenomenal acting from the kids who hadn't had... Obviously, they're all great actors, but I feel like they're really emotional, well-acted scenes that we hadn't seen that level of intensity from them before. And I felt like it was really good. Like, the casting was really, really good.
You mean like our original 4 guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Max as well, yeah. Yeah, they gave Max a spotlight here, for sure. Obviously, last season with her dealing with Billy being this antagonist and being taken over. Like, obviously, we got a glimpse into her that season, but now dealing with the repercussions of that, and then obviously sacrificing herself for this was good. And then, yeah, the rest of them have grown, and I think that kind of lends itself to the story as well. Like, obviously, Lucas is dealing with what path he wants to take, and then obviously his relationship with Max and what he's dealing with her. Mike and Elle and their situation, Will obviously pouring out his heart and how he's feeling, and Dustin being this like interesting catalyst for the older kids. Like, he's kind of like the younger brother to all of them, but he's also really intelligent in figuring the stuff out, like the lights and how to communicate. Erica has grown on me. I thought it was interesting to throw her into season 3 as just like the little punk sister that happens to fit in the vent. But seeing her growth from like not hating her brother, but like really being against him, and then now is like full support of the group, and obviously being in that situation, maybe she also knows it's legit, so that's why she's so serious. Yeah, good stuff by all of them. I guess one question you could pull from this if you really wanted to complain
So the whole thing with Vecna was trauma, right? His targets seemingly shared visiting this counselor, the headaches, the crazy dreams, nosebleeds, stuff like that. Why did he not change targets from Max? Like, why did Max have to be the fourth? I don't know if that was ever said or anything, but like, okay, Chrissy makes sense, right? Has to be the first kill because of Eddie's situation, just to put the blame onto him. Fred got spooked because of the cop and then being near the situation. He was already stressed, I guess. And then Patrick seemed like a throwaway. Why didn't he focus on a different target? I guess would be my other question. I don't know. That would be my only hang up per se. Do you know if they talked about that peanut gallery at all?
I don't think they said.
Okay.
Because, he picked people who had trauma.
Right.
But there's lots of people who have bad trauma.
For sure.
So it kind of seems like he was picking people at random.
Okay.
So I don't know why he didn't just pick somebody else. Maybe he just wanted to finish what he started. I don't know.
Maybe. Because I think also he was ultimately trying to get to L. So maybe because Max has that connection to L, that was why his focus was there. Because I don't think it's like, oh, I started something and then I have this connection and then I can't break it until they're dead. Because as far as I recall, Max was attacked, or at least had the first vision thing, before Patrick was ever even attempted. So, interesting. Yeah, and then I guess they kind of explain his hiatus from doing these murders with the mind flayer situation. Like, he was involved the entire time. So, like, he was maybe just taking a different approach to it.
Until he got... Because he couldn't make a gate.
He couldn't make the gate. So that was the answer.
He could only act when L opened the gate.
True. So, was there a gate? There must have been a gate open... Oh, no, I'm dumb. Because he was in our world when the first murder happened. That was our question mark, too, before we got the reveal of one, Vecna, whatever. It was like, oh, he killed this family during the 70s, 60s, whenever. 50s, yeah, maybe it was the 50s. And then he's like, okay, I'm good. And they just didn't do anything. But that does make sense. He did the murder when he was a kid. He goes to the lab, gets studied on, gets the tranquilizer, neutralizer inside of him, gets out, gets vaporized, is in the upside down, does not have access to the right side up. And then because the gate is opened through the telepathical phone call of the Demogorgon and L, then shit hits the fan. We hit season 1. The doors open. Attacks with Demogorgon. Attacks with the Will and the Mind Flayer. Attacks with the spookiness and Billy. And now he has the access after taking essentially the power from L with the one tentacle thingy attacking her ankle. Now has the ability to make the gates himself through the mind connection of his victims, Chrissy, Patrick, and Fred. And then needs the fourth with Max. And he's good to go from there. Whew. Good stuff. But yeah. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can join this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join on the fun talk if you're a subscriber over there. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, #ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us, and we would love you for it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today, giving us a watch, giving it a listen. Go watch Stranger Things. Have some fun. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.